In the shadowy corners of San Diego, where the salty breeze of the ocean intertwined with the hum of CGS that seemed to whisper secrets to those who gazed too long. Locals said his art had a life of its own, and though many admired his collection, few knew the story behind his success. It all began one chilly evening. The gallery was unusually quiet, save for the faint ticking of an antique clock. Henry was alone, meticulously polishing a frame that held a painting of a stormy sea. The artist of this piece was unknown, yet the brushstrokes felt alive, almost as if the waves might surge out of the canvas. Suddenly, the doorbell chimed, and a tall man in a dark trench coat stepped inside. His face was obscured by the brim of his hat, but his presence was commanding. "Mr. Henry," the man began, his voice smooth but laced with an edge. "I hear you have an eye for rare treasures." Henry straightened, his hand still gripping the cloth. "You've heard correctly. What brings you here?" The man smirked and slid a photograph across the counter. Henry's breath hitched as he recognized the image instantly. It was a painting thought to be lost to history, The Silent Muse, an ethereal masterpiece rumored to have been stolen decades ago. Its disappearance had sparked endless speculation, but now, here it was, staring back at him in black and white. "Where did you find this?" Henry's voice was barely above a whisper. "That's not important," the man replied. "What matters is that it's available, for the right buyer. I thought someone of your caliber might be interested." Henry's mind raced. The Silent Muse wasn't just a painting, it was a legend. Owning it could cement his gallery's reputation forever. But there was a problem. Art like this didn't just resurface without strings attached. "What's the price?" Henry asked cautiously. The man leaned closer, his shadow swallowing the counter. "More than money. Let's just say, you'll owe me a favor." Henry hesitated, the weight of the offer settling on his chest. But ambition had always been his guiding star. He nodded. Days turned into weeks, and soon, the Silent Muse hung in Henry's gallery, drawing crowds like moths to a flame. Critics raved, collectors salivated, and Henry basked in the glow of his newfound fame. Yet, beneath the surface, unease gnawed at him. The man in the trench coat had vanished, leaving no contact information or hint of his next move. And then, the peculiar events began. One night, as Henry was locking up, he heard a faint sound, a whispering voice coming from the direction of the Silent Muse. He froze, his heart pounding. Slowly, he turned, but the gallery was empty. Shaking off the feeling, he convinced himself it was his imagination. But the whispers persisted, growing louder each night. They weren't just sounds, they were words, fragmented and haunting. "Return, what, was taken?" Henry tried to ignore it, but sleep became elusive, and the whispers seeped into his waking hours. Visitors began to report strange occurrences too. Some claimed the painting's subject, a veiled woman with piercing eyes, seemed to follow them with her gaze. Others swore they felt a cold breeze emanating from the canvas. Rumors spread, and while the attention brought more visitors, it also brought questions Henry couldn't answer. One evening, a young woman named Emma entered the gallery. She was an art historian with a reputation for uncovering truths about stolen masterpieces. She approached Henry directly. "This painting," she said, gesturing to the Silent Muse, "it's cursed." Henry chuckled nervously. "Cursed? That's just superstition." Emma's expression remained serious. "Do you know its history?" The artist, a recluse named Elias Moreau, poured his soul into this piece. They say he made a pact, something unnatural. When the painting was stolen, it wasn't just a theft. It was a desecration. Every owner since has met a tragic end. Henry's throat tightened. He wanted to dismiss her words, but the evidence was mounting. That night, unable to sleep, he poured himself a glass of whiskey and stared at the painting. The veiled woman's eyes seemed to bore into his soul. "What do you want from me?" he muttered. To his horror, the whispers answered. "Return the debt, unpaid." The next morning, Henry resolved to uncover the truth. He contacted Emma, and together they delved into the painting's history. Their research led them to an abandoned mansion on the outskirts of the city, once owned by Elias Moreau. It was there, they believed, the answers lay hidden. The mansion was a decaying relic of another era, its windows shattered and walls cloaked in ivy. As Henry and Emma stepped inside, the air grew heavy, and an unnatural chill enveloped them. In the center of the main hall stood an easel, its canvas torn and empty. Scattered around were remnants of Moreau's work, sketches of the veiled woman, her haunting eye staring out from every page. "This is where he painted her," Emma whispered. "And where he died." As they explored, they found a diary belonging to Moreau. Its pages were filled with cryptic entries about a deal he had made to achieve artistic greatness. The final entry sent shivers down Henry's spine. "She watches, she waits. The debt must be paid." Suddenly, the whispers returned, louder than ever. The walls seemed to pulse with energy, and the air grew colder. Henry and Emma turned to see the veiled woman's image materializing on the torn canvas of the easel. Her eyes burned with fury. "You took what was mine," her voice echoed, though her lips didn't move. "Return it." Henry fell to his knees. "I didn't steal it. I didn't know." The woman's gaze shifted to Emma, who clutched Henry's arm. "Then you must make it right," she said, her tone softening but still filled with power. "Find the one who brought it to you. Only then will the curse be lifted." Henry nodded frantically. "I will. I swear it." The image faded, and the mansion fell silent. Shaken but determined, Henry and Emma left, vowing to track down the man in the trench coat. Weeks turned into months as they followed a trail of clues, each step bringing them closer to the truth. Along the way, they uncovered a network of stolen art dealers, each linked to mysterious disappearances and tragedies. Finally, they found him, the man in the trench coat, living under an alias in a remote cabin. Confronting him was no easy task, but Henry and Emma were prepared. They demanded he returned the silent muse to its rightful place. Cornered and desperate, the man revealed he had stolen the painting to settle his own debts, unaware of the consequences. Together, they brought the painting back to Moreau's mansion, where they placed it on the easel. The air grew still, and for the first time in months, Henry felt a sense of peace. The veiled woman's eyes softened, and the whispers ceased. As they left the mansion, Henry turned to Emma. "Do you think it's over?" Emma smiled faintly. "For now. But some secrets should remain buried." Henry returned to his gallery, a changed man. He sold his entire collection and transformed the space into a museum dedicated to educating others about the dark side of the art world. And though he never saw the veiled woman again, he often felt her presence, a silent reminder of the price of ambition. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more chilling tales, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Who knows? The next story might uncover a secret hidden in plain sight.